Tumblr has a very bad reputation online as the place where integrity and rationality goes to die. I've always tried to steer clear of talking about this godforsaken website on this channel since I'm about as political as a wet mop, but I thought one topic would fit in quite nicely here, and that is the Tumblr art style. This is a very hard topic to talk about because everything is so generalized. It's like I'm talking and making up some kind of straw man. Tumblr is a very diverse website, as we all know, but it's a little too far-fetched to pretend that everyone on there shares the same political views and opinions. I was on Tumblr when I was a younger teenager, from 2012 to I believe 2016, and I can tell you from first-hand experience that for every extreme SJW blog, there's also an extreme anti-SJW blog. The people you find on there depends on how you navigate the website and who you follow. Toxicity can in fact be avoided. I didn't think I'd have to express my thoughts on these kind of things as a precaution in a video, but we're talking about Tumblr here, for Christ's sake. I'm generally pretty open to stuff. I don't care who or what you identify as or who you want to be, just as long as you're not doing anything detrimental to yourself, the people around you, or the environment. There's certain boundaries, and if you cross them, then you need to step back and realise what you're doing. So before anyone in the comments starts pulling labels out of their asses to attach to me, shut up. Basically, you shouldn't generalise the entire website. Yes, it's a stereotype, but stereotypes aren't always the best things, which we'll get more into later. Of course, you're welcome to disagree with me here. This is a very opinionated topic and a matter of taste. A lot of my points and arguments came from people I interacted with on DeviantArt and Twitter, to also see their opinions as well. If you like this art style, please, for the love of God, tell me why, because I haven't actually seen one comment in any of my journals about this saying that they actually like the art style. So anyway, let's get into this. Be warned that I probably won't be able to talk about everything because this is such a broad topic and it's the most boring thing I've had to research, but I'll do my best. So, what exactly is the Tumblr art style? I don't know. I asked in a journal on DeviantArt and I'm crying because nobody's actually given me a specific explanation. People seem to have a different opinion on what the art style even is, but everyone seems to agree on what having the Tumblr art style means. And that thing is diversity. More so, forced diversity. I don't want to get into the ethics of whether diversity in art is a good or bad thing, because regardless of my opinion it'll fall on deaf ears of those who don't want to hear it, so let's take a different approach here. Let's talk about some of the things that these artists do in order to be more diverse. A lot of people came to me talking about race bending. Personally, I think Story has tackled this topic a little bit better than I would be able to, because she's actually from an ethnic background, whereas I am just white. But someone asked me a rather interesting question about how I would feel if someone race-bended my OCs, and to that I say, I'd like to know the reasoning behind their decision. I feel like doing something for the sake of an AU is a good get-out-of-jail-free card, but if people think they're improving a character by changing their skin colour, they are in desperate need for an MRI scan because there ain't no way there's a brain in that cranium. I think it's a common misconception amongst a lot of people that you need to have a nice amount of melanin in a cast for it to be diverse, but believe it or not, white people can be diverse in their own ways too. You know, it's almost as if everyone on the spinning orb in space has some kind of individuality. Representation matters, of course. It's good for viewers to be able to relate to the characters they like, and it's good for networks and producers who get brownie points for being more diverse. But you'll never believe me when I say this, mainstream media often appeals to mainstream audiences. If you go to Asia, most of the characters and media over there are going to be Asian. If you go to a predominantly black country, most of the characters in media over there are going to be black. Hell, have any of you people heard of Bollywood by any chance? Diversity is good when it's done right, when it isn't just tokenism and we're given characters who are interesting and relatable. I would go further into tokenism, but I'd rather leave this point off by saying go and read up on Alvarado's theory about ethnic minorities and stereotypes, because it's actually pretty interesting. Oh my god, I'm already sick of saying the word diverse. I've got to do more of this video. Okay, fine. bear with me here. After speaking to various people and hearing their opinions on this style of art, a few points kept popping up over and over again. The words exaggeration and ugly were two of the most repeated words that I kept seeing in my comment sections. I guess it's better for me to just show you the most infamous example of the style than to just leave it up to your imagination. Do you like what you see? I have spent days searching for opinions on this topic to use in this video, and I am overwhelmed by the amount of people who've told me to rip on this specific artist, and I feel absolutely no shame for what I'm about to do. RC Dart, or RCD Art, or you should just erase the word art from your username right now, is a very controversial creator because of the fact that their artwork fetishizes trans men. They specifically draw a trans Captain America with a bulbous hourglass physique, and as far as I'm aware, this artist also features a lot of not safe for work images like this in the separate blog. That was a sentence I never thought I'd say out loud, let alone in my mind. But I could be wrong about that last part about the not safe for work blog, because god damn it, I am not going to venture anywhere into this person's blogs. I asked Twitter what their opinions on trans men being drawn with a biologically female body were, and I must say I was shocked by the results. I'd seen previous thread a while ago about how it's unacceptable to draw a trans person in the wrong body, as it were, but in my poll people seemed to agree that it's okay, but I figured that the reasoning behind that was because it came down to context and how the character is written, and also who follows me, because, you know, I'm not a very political person, so I don't want to get too into how to write LGBT plus characters because opinions are much more valid from those who are actually members of the community, and not me because I am just a lowly heterosexual. Heterosexual. I can't say words today. Oh my god, why am I reading a script? I'd like to hear some different opinions on drawing trans people, because I don't think this discussion is had enough between artists, since everyone seems to have different ideas on what's good and what's bad to draw and how to draw things. It wasn't necessarily the trans fetishization that I wanted to talk about though, it was this lovely image. It feeds right into the points people made in my journal about over-exaggeration of features, and honestly I have to laugh when people do this. There's a point when you over-exaggerate someone's features so much in an attempt to be diverse that you pull a 180 and it becomes racist. This particular image is very reminiscent of old racist caricatures that came under immediate backlash when it was uploaded. There was also that one Doki Doki Literature Club artwork by a different artist and everyone had buck teeth because haha Asians. This is what I don't get. You're trying to fight stereotypes with stereotypes. When you do that, and when you stereotype your subjects, you're effectively going back on your own goal of diversity. It's like one step forward and 2 steps back. And then of course you have the Tumblr nose syndrome, and good god I can't even talk about this because I don't know one person who likes it or can tell me why people draw it. I guess Radical Wolfaboo's comment gives a pretty good insight into this part of the discussion. But yeah, what do I think about this art style and what its implications are? When I don't like something, I either try to understand it or ignore it and avoid it completely. This was one of those cases where I tried to understand it and I still can't get to the bottom of it. For a start, we're not even entirely sure what this art style even is. A lot of people seem to compare it to Steven Universe, but I see art like this and I dismiss that it's anything to do with Steven Universe. After all, I was on Tumblr before Steven Universe was first aired, and I can distinctly remember seeing art similar to that back then. I feel like when drawing diverse characters, you need to think of them as people and not accessories to give you those diversity brownie points. It's all well and good having a cast full of people from different races, but nobody's going to care about the colour of their skin if there's nothing interesting about them. In fact, people aren't even going to care about them at all if that's the case. Not everything needs to come down to skin colour or gender. A good character can be a good character regardless of what they look like or what they identify as. When I see people over-exaggerating features like this, I can't help but feel like it's just blind ignorance. It's like you're trying to appeal to a specific demographic, but you're not going to do that if you can't see the character you've drawn as anything more than an aesthetic. On the other hand, art is freedom of expression, and if this is how you want to express yourself, then nothing is gonna stop you. I just want to point out how hypocritical it is to rely so heavily on stereotypes when trying to make yourself seem cultured and diverse. And that's why I don't like this art style.
Golf, Alpha, Echo, 2, 6, Oscar, Foxtrot, Echo, Foxtrot, 1, Sierra.
While we are waiting, what a wonderful